Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Roman Polnar coming to you live from Pillar 6 College Planning, and welcome to this week's episode of Financial Aid Wednesdays. Uh, Today's December 1st, so it's amazing how this year just flew by seemingly in a blink of an eye. And especially if you're a parent of a high school senior, there's not a lot of time left before they're going to be heading off to college, and even less time when they start getting their financial aid awards, and you'll have to make a decision of where are they going to go to college. And so we do these financial aid Wednesdays to help all of you find more money to pay for college, but also make that entire college planning and acceptance and decision journey easier. And so every week we take a topic that is really important for financial aid, or maybe it's more important for how you're going to pay for college in a way that isn't going to stress you out or stress your kids out. And then we take that topic apart to help you do better. And today we're going to do something a little bit different because I wanted to introduce someone that some of you already know pretty well, but a lot of you don't. And so today we're going to have a fireside chat with Rob. And if you haven't met Rob, there he is. Rob is a very, very important person that you should all know because Rob's not only a partner of Pillar 6 College Planning, but he really is the engine that drives everything behind the scenes. So if you've learned with us, if you've taken any of our courses, if you're on our mailing list, basically Rob runs the show. So Rob, morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Roman. Thanks for the introduction.
Well, you deserve a bit of praise and a spotlight because usually folks hear from me and I feel bad for them that they have to see and hear from me so much. So I thought it was time we shift things up and wanted to put a bit of a spotlight on you, but also especially because I think you have a different perspective than I do. And I've been at this for now, 10 plus years. And sometimes, I just go into the weeds because to me, it's second nature. And I know that you have a different and unique perspective that's probably closer to the perspective that like most of our families and the parents have. And so I thought it'd be really valuable to chat with you about it a little bit and get your take on it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I've really, like you said, I mean, I had not been in the college planning mindset um, ever prior to meeting you and working with you. And like many families, I've got a kid in school. He's a little bit earlier on. He's in middle school, so I've got a little bit of time. But I realize, I mean, the logical side of me is like, oh, I know I'm going to have to pay for it, but it's down the road. I'm not worried about it right now. I'll get to it. And so that's really the perspective I bring is I think that it's not something that was top of mind or something I trained for. It was something that I'm now learning through a fire hose, I think would be the best way to describe it.
Well, speaking of a fire hose, I hope it's not fire hose now, but I know that when we first started working on this together a couple of years back, I mean, it probably felt like drinking a fire hose, but tell the folks a little bit about your background because you came from the technology world and you kind of pivoted and shifted into the college financial aid space. Like, tell folks like what made you want to do that? Like, why did you do that? Make the
Sure, sure. For me, as you said, I've been in the technology space and was in that space for 15 plus years. And I was really focused on solving big problems. I mean, these companies that I worked with would have these big technological problems that were very complex and they needed to simplify those problems. And that's what we would do is we'd help companies boil down these big problems they had into something that people could understand and they could, move their business forward. And so spent a lot of time doing that and really enjoyed it. And I think some of the parallels that I saw are that as I started talking to you and learning more about this, I'm like, this system is crazy. I mean, it's like your head wants to explode when you start doing it. And I've got some really close friends that are a little further on in the process. And talking to them initially was like, oh, it was really interesting. It was fun to hear what their kids were thinking about in terms of schools. And then as it creeped a little bit closer to the time when all of a sudden they had to pay the piper, it was like, wait a sec, you have to pay what to go to that college for a year? And I was like, my mind just exploded. I'm like, wait a sec. I mean, I wasn't thinking for my son that I was going to be having to save, you know, all this money and that's going to get me through 1 year? No, 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 no. So for me, it really opened my eyes. And I was like, okay, so what if I could do what I did in my past or my previous career and take these really big, complex problems and simplify them? Like, really, there's only a few things that I got to do before my son gets to college to not be in this predicament. And so that's what really attracted me to working with you and really to solve this problem because I mean, it's a mind numbing problem. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I think the problem of just the system or the process being complicated is only made worse by the fact that colleges are so expensive. So I mean, I think that's like a three kind of prong problem that's meshed
Yeah.
into one, right? I mean, colleges are incredibly expensive. They've gone up in price far more than like most people's incomes, right?
Yeah.
So creates the second problem, which makes it super difficult for people to actually save enough
Right.
or pay enough out of their own pocket to send their kids to school. And then three, the financial aid system is a total mess because they try to get money from it, but it's just crazy complex, and it does make your head almost explode. And my story, like
Yeah.
I didn't do things correctly, and I know you didn't either, and that's just because the system is complex.
Right. Oh,
Rob, I don't know if it's on your end or my end. I think I might be having some Wi-Fi issues. So, folks, if you're watching us live and if I'm freezing up, can you drop me a quick note in the comments to tell me if you can hear me and see me? I'd really appreciate that. I don't know if it's the streaming software we're using or if it's my internet. All right, I think we're coming back. Sorry for the trouble. Hey, Rob, can you hear me still? I can hear you typing.
yeah. So my video has frozen, but can you hear me talking?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you fine. Hang on, let me try something.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's weird. I think your picture
Oh.
froze. Well, of course, the picture has to freeze on the goofiest moment. So,
Maybe try this. Yeah.
yeah, maybe something on your end.
Yeah, it
But
might be my camera is just completely frozen.
that's all right. Well, let's keep going. I mean, we talked about kind of that three-pronged problem that families face: college expensive, not enough money saved up, and the financial aid system is complex. And I kind of wanted to dive into this a little bit deeper because you have a different perspective on all of this, given that you are fairly or were at least kind of new to this problem. Like, what did you discover in the last couple of years as we've been trying to tackle and solving it?
Well, you touched on a lot of them. I mean, for me, it was really realizing that a lot of families are making the exact same mistake over and over again. So that
Hmm.
was problem number one I saw. And then just wrapping my mind around some of the
I think we lost Rob again. I think what we'll do is I'll pause here. So if you're watching us live, come back, watch us again. We'll do a retake. I think there may be some tech issues, um, and then we'll come right back to you. And hey, AJ, I see that you've got a question. And how are we helping people? Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we do. We help people find money to pay for college. And one of the most important things I would say is that you got to know sort of where the money is for you and your family because most families will sort of fall into one of three different categories, and where they get financial aid is going to be different. So it's important for you to know like what profile you and or your family fall into so you know what path to take to get the money to pay for college. That's usually what we talk about. And unfortunately, it looks like we're having some technical issues and we weren't able to continue the conversation with Rob, but I'll pause here and I'll come back unless you've got any other questions, but feel free to put them in the chat and then we'll come back and we'll try this again. So AJ, if you've got a question, drop them in the comments. Otherwise, we'll see you back here in a bit. All right, thanks everybody.